Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be making a simmer pot and just having a cozy morning before heading out to the apple orchard and pumpkin patch, and also exploring a town that I had never been to before. I started by putting an ASMR room on. You can just go to YouTube and type in ASMR room and they have everything you can think of. I picked a rainy autumn day. And then I got my pot out and my ingredients. I used an apple. I didn't have an orange, so I just used like a little clementine and some cloves, cinnamon sticks, and a little bit of rosemary. And of course, I added some more cinnamon because I was low on cinnamon sticks. And I just boiled my water in the tea kettle and then added it to the pot and just added everything else in. I had a little bit of vanilla left over in this container, so I just dumped the rest of it in just to add a little bit more scent. These simmer pots make your home smell so good. It's just the best smell ever. I can't explain it, even better than a candle. And you can keep them for as long as a week and just change it out once a week. You just keep refilling it with water each day. Next, I decided to make some spooky movie mystery jars. So what I did was I wrote out a bunch of movies in 3 categories. I had modern scary movies, I had classic scary movies, and I have family scary movies. I put them into 3 piles, and I got my 3 pumpkin mugs, and these are the containers that I'm going to use for my movie jars. So in my family movie jar, I have the Addams Family, Monster House, Coraline, and just things like that. Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Haunted Mansion, Halloween Town. And then I just folded each one up and stuck it into the jar. Next are my more modern movies. This one technically is from the 70s, but it's really scary, so I don't put it under my classic section. It's The Changeling. Go watch it. It's a really good ghost movie. And then Crimson Peak, I watch. It's not scary at all, but it's more for the aesthetic. It's set in a Victorian mansion in England. Salem's Lot is one of the best vampire novels. And the 2-part miniseries is really good too. The Others with Nicole Kidman, a good ghost movie. The Woman in Black, I love the aesthetic of this movie with Daniel Radcliffe. And of course, The Shining, classic ghost movie. I mainly just watch ghost movies. I am not into gore at all. The Poltergeist, the original, cheesy but still a classic. And then I've never seen Wolfman with Emily Blunt. I love the aesthetic of it, so I'm gonna give it a try this year. And then Bram Stoker's Dracula, I think from the 90s. I love this movie. It's a classic for me. Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. I love this movie. And then, of course, Halloween 1 and 2 are going to go in there. That's probably as gory as I get. Next is my favorite category, the classic horror movies, starting with The Haunting. The 1963 version is by far my favorite. I've seen The Haunting of Hill House show, and it just does not do the book justice. And the one from the early 2000s, I can't even talk about. The Bat is another classic horror movie. It has Vincent Price in it. It's kind of cheesy, but it is so good. A good ghost movie that's like gothic, it takes place in an English mansion, is The Innocents. It's about a governess that comes to take care of these kids, and she starts seeing ghosts of a former governess that committed suicide on the property. It's very good. The Screaming Skull is a very underrated horror movie. It's a thriller, ghost movie, murder mystery. It's very good. The House of Wax with Vincent Price is a classic horror movie. It takes place in Victorian London, I believe, and it's one of my favorites. The Spiral Staircase is about a girl that is mute, so she can't like speak or scream or anything. It's a murder mystery. She is working in this old mansion as a caregiver to this old woman, and there's a serial killer on the loose. The top of the classic horror movies, in my opinion, is House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price. It's about this eccentric millionaire that invites all these people to spend the night in a haunted house. You have to watch it. The Horror of Dracula with Christopher Lee is, in my opinion, the best Dracula movie. Now my movie jars are all done, and it'll be so fun to select a movie out of these every night. I wanted to mention a few books that I like to read during October season. The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson is a classic. It's a really good ghost story book. And of course, Edgar Allan Poe. Any of his stories are good. I have this book that has most of his creepy tales in it, and I just love getting it out and reading this on a gloomy October night. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier is not particularly like a horror book. It's a thriller, and you can really read it any time of year, but I love to read it in September, October, November, around there. And of course, my favorite horror book is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is just a classic. It is a little bit long. The audiobook is very good if you want to listen to it, but it's just a great book overall. I had to mention this Halloween book that I got off of Amazon. It is so cute. It's Crafting Your Own Vintage Halloween, and it just has so many ideas. It has tales of Halloween origins in it, these beautiful pictures, recipes, party ideas. It comes with this cute jack-o'-lantern bookmark. I just love this book. I'm going to link it down below. Next, I'm going to list some of the audiobooks that I've really enjoyed. Most of them are like gothic horror / thriller audiobooks that I just listened to in the car. And really, you could listen to these in November too. They're just got that creepy vibe. The first is The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. And this one is lengthy, but I absolutely loved it. I enjoyed every minute of it. The Woman in the Mirror by Rebecca James was so creepy. This is so underrated. I can't believe more people aren't talking about this book. Mrs. England is more of a thriller, but it's still got that gothic Victorian mansion vibe to it. The Darkling Bride by Laura Anderson is also very lengthy, but it is still a really good thriller / murder mystery. Lady Jane Disappears is another good thriller with that same vibe aesthetic. A really good ghost horror / thriller book is The Lost Ones by Anita Frank. It was very creepy, a little bit of disturbing things in it, but it was really good overall. Later that afternoon, we went to the apple orchard, and they had a pumpkin patch, and they also had pumpkins inside with the apples. So we got a few pumpkins to take home. The kids got some apples and some goodies, and the weather was beautiful and cloudy outside, and it was just the perfect day. The next morning we headed to Covington, which is in Georgia. They filmed like the Goosebumps 2 movie here, and also the show The Vampire Diaries. which I am totally a fan of. But this town was so adorable, so beautiful and historical, and all of the houses were decorated for Halloween. It was so gorgeous. I might even have to go back before Halloween. I strongly suggest you go to Google and just type in historic towns near me and see what pops up. Venture out. I'm so glad that we found this. This coffee shop, by the way, was so cute. They decorated it so beautifully on the outside, and the inside they had this cozy nook where we got to sit by these books and have our coffee. When I got back home, I wanted to make my own pumpkin spice syrup because I am on a low-carb diet. I decided to use a sugar substitute. I just lessened the amount. It's supposed to be 1 cup. I used 3 of sugar. I used 3/4 cup of Swerve. Then I added a tablespoon of pumpkin spice mix, and then I just put in a little splash of this rum extract because I didn't have any vanilla, and it actually added some flavor to it, I think. I just added a 1/2 cup of pumpkin puree, and I believe it was 1.5 cups of water. I'll link the recipe that I used down below as well. I let that come to a boil, and then I put it on medium heat and just kept stirring every once in a while so that it wouldn't scorch at the bottom. And I did this for around 25 minutes. It didn't thicken up as much as it would have if it was regular sugar, but I still love the way that it turned out. I stored it in this little pumpkin mug in the fridge, and so all you have to do is scoop it out and add it to hot coffee every morning, and it tasted so good. Thank you so much for joining me in my cozy autumn weekend. I will see you in the next one. Bye.